The moon was bright and full in the cloudless nighttime sky. Its silver light shimmered across the lake, broken only by ripples that looked like glittering trails of stardust. Around the shoreline, couples sat in cars and on benches, enjoying the timeless rituals of young love, some holding hands, some whispering, others simply gazing at the stars together in comfortable silence. In the front seat of his cherry-red 1964 Chevy Nova convertible, Jimmy and Susie cuddled close. His arm rested protectively around her, and her head lay gently on his shoulder. Both were 18, on the edge of adulthood, and tomorrow night they would attend their senior prom, a moment they had looked forward to for months. Life felt full of promise as they whispered dreams of the future. Jimmy was tall, with dark hair and striking blue eyes. His athletic build and quiet confidence had made him popular at school, though his heart belonged to Susie. He had been accepted into the State University's engineering program for the fall. Susie, with her auburn hair and warm brown eyes, was admired for her kindness and bright spirit. She had been accepted to the same university to study art. Together, they seemed unstoppable, a perfect blend of ambition and imagination. As they sat there, a streak of light blazed across the sky, a shooting star, arcing downwards before vanishing with a startling impact near the water's edge. Some couples gasped, others used the moment as an excuse for a kiss. But Jimmy and Susie stared wide-eyed as the meteorite struck the ground, close enough to rattle the Nova. Startled, they pulled apart and rushed from the car. Jimmy, in jeans and a school tee, hurried ahead with curiosity written all over his face. Susie, careful in her heels and skirt, followed close behind, warning him to be cautious. In the fresh crater, a faint red glow pulsed from the small orb resting at the bottom of the trench. Jimmy crouched to examine it, brushing soil away with his hand. "Jimmy, don't touch it," Susie cried. "It could be dangerous." But Jimmy's curiosity was too strong. He leaned closer, unable to resist the mysterious glow. Jimmy tentatively touched the strange gift from outer space. It felt cool beneath his fingertips. "Susie, this thing should be hot enough to melt," he exclaimed. "Instead, it's cold." "This is amazing." Susie, still holding Jimmy's hand, reached out with her free hand to touch the glowing orb. The moment her fingers brushed the surface, a surge of energy pulsed through them both, like a circuit snapping shut. A crackling sound filled the air as the energy drained from the ball. Both were thrown backward, stunned. Jimmy blinked, his vision swimming. "Susie, are you okay?" he called, noticing that his own voice now sounded strange, higher than normal. Susie's reply was equally startling. "I think so." "Jimmy, what happened to us?" Her voice was now unexpectedly lower. Jimmy turned right, no Susie. He turned left and froze. He was staring into his own face. His own hand was gripping his left hand. Somehow, impossibly, he was looking at himself. Then he glanced down. Long auburn hair framed a pink silk blouse, a red skirt, nylon-covered legs, and small red shoes. His breath caught. He was in Susie's body. Across from him, Susie stared back, wide-eyed, realizing she was now inside Jimmy's body. "The meteorite," she gasped in a deepened voice. "It caused this." "Jimmy, are you inside my body?" Her former face nodded nervously. The truth settled over them both. They had swapped bodies. Susie reached down with Jimmy's muscular arm and pulled Jimmy as Susie up from the ground, almost lifting him off his feet without realizing how much stronger she'd become. "Sorry," she said quickly. "I guess I don't know my own strength." Jimmy wobbled on Susie's red heels, clinging to Susie as Jimmy for balance. The alien sensation of the clothes, the shoes, the unfamiliar weight and movement of the body he now inhabited left him reeling. He took a shaky breath, trying to calm his nerves. "Susie, we have to switch back." "This is too freaky," he said in a high, worried voice. Susie found herself unsettled by the strange new sensations in Jimmy's body. Part of her mind wanted to dwell on them, but another part quickly agreed with Jimmy. They needed to focus. "Okay," she said firmly. "We switched when we touched the ball together. Maybe if we try again, it will undo this." They both leaned down, holding hands, and touched the orb once more. Nothing happened. Where it had glowed before, the strange stone now lay dim and lifeless. Whatever energy had caused their switch was gone. The realization hit both of them hard. They stood in silence under the moonlight, hand in hand. At last, Jimmy spoke nervously. "Can we go back to the car? I'm not built for standing in these shoes." His unsteady steps proved the point. Susie, now strong in Jimmy's body, slipped an arm around her boyfriend, now walking in her body, and helped him back to the car. She even held the door open as he eased himself into the seat. Jimmy fumbled awkwardly with the unfamiliar skirt before sitting down, cheeks burning at the thought of how exposed he felt. Sliding into the passenger side, Susie shook her head. "Jimmy, you're going to have to learn fast." If this had happened in the school parking lot, everyone would have been staring. "You've got to carry yourself differently now." Jimmy tugged the fabric down, trying to look more modest. "Susie, I don't plan on staying in your body any longer than I have to. If we go to the authorities, maybe they'll know what to do." But even as he said it, he knew it sounded ridiculous. Who would believe such a story? And what if they ended up as test subjects for some government lab? Before either could think further, Susie suddenly gasped. "The prom. It's tomorrow night. What are we going to do?" Her voice cracked with panic. "We've planned everything for months, the gown, the tux, your car, my hair appointment. All of it. This can't be happening now." Jimmy saw tears forming in Susie's eyes, his own familiar eyes, only set in her current body. He slid closer and wrapped his small arms around her. "Baby, don't cry. We'll figure something out." Susie pulled back, a strange spark of determination lighting her borrowed features. "I have an idea," she said slowly. "We'll go to the senior prom anyway." Jimmy's eyes went wide. "No way." But Susie wouldn't let go of the idea. She pleaded, argued, even teased. The prom had been her dream since childhood, and she wasn't about to give it up because of a freak accident. For 30 minutes, Jimmy resisted, then finally gave in. They decided not to tell their families about the meteorite or the body swap until after the prom. Whatever happened, they were going to face tomorrow night together. An hour later, they had agreed on a plan. To keep their families from catching on, Susie would spend the night at Jimmy's house, while Jimmy returned to Susie's. They hoped the switch would go unnoticed, at least until after the prom. Jimmy slid into the driver's seat, but quickly realized that driving in high heels was harder than walking in them. Before they even reached the highway, Susie had taken over behind the wheel of the Chevy Nova. As they drove back into town, she went over her prom day schedule with Jimmy again and again, determined that nothing would ruin it. When they pulled up in front of her house, Susie turned off the engine and leaned closer, trying to plant a kiss on Jimmy's lips. Jimmy pulled back sharply. "Cut that out. I don't kiss guys." Susie burst out laughing, not at the situation, but at the way Jimmy reacted. "If I'm a guy now," she teased, "then that makes you the girl. We've always kissed before. Why should it be any different?" Jimmy crossed his arms and shook his head. "Because it's freaky to kiss you while you're in my body." "Fine," Susie said with mock seriousness. "Then just a hug." Reluctantly, Jimmy agreed, and Susie wrapped him in a firm embrace. Her strength in his body startled him, and for a moment he felt completely overpowered by her grip. The closeness made him flustered, and he muttered nervously, "All right, don't get carried away." But when Susie leaned in for a kiss anyway, Jimmy quickly pulled away, fumbling for the car door handle. He slipped out onto the driveway, his balance shaky in heels. His heart pounded not just from embarrassment, but from the confusing emotions he felt when Susie had pressed close. Susie followed, now looking guilty. "Jimmy, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pushed you like that. I guess I got carried away. Just remember that I really do love you." Jimmy, still catching his breath, managed a small nod. It was clear that even though they loved each other, navigating this body swap would test their relationship in ways neither of them had imagined. Jimmy had spent his whole life in a male body, until tonight. Looking up into Susie's eyes, now set in his own face, his heart softened. "Please, don't say another word. I know what you're going through. And I love you too, Susie." At her front door, the porch light flicked off and back on, the signal from her parents inside. Susie whispered, "Don't forget, you're me until we figure this out." Here's your purse. Good night, Susie. She put extra weight on the name. Jimmy took the red purse nervously, opened the door, and stepped inside. Susie's parents were watching TV in the living room. Her father looked up. How was your date tonight, Susie? Jimmy smiled, trying to sound casual. It was nice. We got burgers and talked a lot. He left out any mention of falling stars and meteorites. Tomorrow's a busy day, so I think I'll head to bed early. Susie's mother stood, smiling warmly. I'll come up with you. Upstairs, Jimmy felt his nerves spike. Susie's mom had always been polite but distant with him. Now, believing she was speaking to her daughter, she became affectionate. You and Jimmy were out pretty late, she said gently. I know you're nearly grown, but please remember to take care of yourself. You can always come to me with anything. You'll always be my daughter, and I love you very much. Jimmy's throat tightened. He hugged her awkwardly, feeling closer in that moment to her than he ever had to his own mother. A pang of guilt hit him. If this body swap wasn't reversed soon, they owed her the truth. His mother smiled again. Tomorrow will be a big day for you. Let's get you ready for bed. Jimmy froze. He wasn't sure how far she intended to help, but even the thought of bedtime routines felt overwhelming. Susie's mother, sensing his hesitation, simply patted his shoulder. Don't worry, sweetheart. You can manage on your own. Relieved, Jimmy excused himself, closing the bedroom door behind him. Alone, he stared at the reflection in the mirror. The face and body looking back weren't his, yet they were the ones he had to live in, at least for now. Tomorrow would bring the prom, but tonight brought only questions. Could he keep up the act, and how long would this bizarre switch last? Susie's mother came back into the room carrying a soft pink nightgown. She laid it gently on the bed. Here you go, sweetheart. Get changed and then get some rest. Tomorrow will be a big day. Jimmy hesitated, nervous about every step of pretending to be Susie. But he reminded himself, this is what Susie would do. He accepted the nightgown, changed quickly, and climbed under the covers. Susie's mom reminded him to wash off his makeup, and Jimmy awkwardly followed her to the bathroom. Standing at the mirror, he felt overwhelmed. The reflection wasn't his auburn hair, soft features, delicate hands. Susie's mother chatted warmly about her hopes for Susie's future, unaware that she was speaking to Jimmy. In that moment, Jimmy realized just how much this woman loved her daughter. It stirred something inside him, a mix of guilt, responsibility, and tenderness. Back in bed, Susie's mom tucked him in. Jimmy surprised himself when he hugged her and said softly, I love you too. It was something Susie would have said, but he also meant it in his own way. When the door closed, he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, mind racing. What if this switch is permanent? Eventually, exhaustion won. Jimmy drifted into uneasy dreams, flashes of the night at the lake, Susie's smile, and the strange meteorite glowing in the dark. In the dream, roles blurred and emotions felt unfamiliar yet powerful. When he woke the next morning, the weight on his chest and the reflection in the mirror reminded him it wasn't just a dream. He pulled the blanket up over his face, embarrassed by the memory of how real those feelings had seemed. How am I supposed to face Susie after all this? He whispered to himself. There was a knock at the door before it opened. Susie's smiling mother peeked in and cheerfully called out, Come on, sleepyhead. Time to get out of bed and start your day. Take a shower, put on something casual, and come down for breakfast. Your makeover appointment is at 11 and you don't want to be late. She left, closing the door behind her. Jimmy pushed back the covers and froze. The short nightgown had ridden up, and the unfamiliar weight on his chest reminded him of the impossible situation he was in. He sat there for a moment, staring at the reflection of auburn hair and delicate shoulders in the vanity mirror. It was still surreal. This was Susie's body, but it was him inside. He took a deep breath and whispered, Okay, you can do this. He slipped off the bed and padded toward the bathroom, every movement reminding him just how differently this body felt. The sway of his balance, the softness of his skin, even the sound of his lighter footsteps on the floor, it was all new and overwhelming. In the bathroom, Jimmy caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. The sight nearly stopped him in his tracks. It was Susie's body, graceful, petite, and beautiful, staring back. But the wide-eyed expression, the nervous frown, the awkward posture, those were his. He quickly turned away, embarrassed at his own reaction, and forced himself to focus. Just take a shower. Don't think too much. He stepped under the spray, shivering slightly as warm water cascaded down. Every sensation felt heightened, different, unfamiliar. Washing up felt clumsy, awkward, like trying to drive someone else's car for the first time.